Man. It appears that Ryan Clark has gotten himself into a lot of trouble because of the Lacy incident that he discussed live on ESPN. And because it got to the point where he had to publicly apologize on ESPN, I would want to draw attention to what Ryan Clark said that got him into some problems and explain this to you all. And this is just an attempt to stay out of legal trouble, isn't it? All right, let's dissect this. Allow me to play a video that got Ryan Clark into trouble. The video is available here.
I want to clear space for this.
1 second, please.
This is important.
Yes, guys, Kyren Lacy was supposed to be in the NFL. Kyren Lacy was accused of something and being investigated for something that he didn't do, and he died having to live with the guilt and the consequences of a guilty man knowing he was innocent. It recently was discovered that he was 72 yards away from the crash, that police and state policemen tried to coerce and doctor and use ways to manipulate statements that put this young man behind bars. They changed his joy, they changed his life, and eventually he took his own life. This was supposed to be a career, but at least he was supposed to be here. At some point throughout his career, I would expect to have said his name. So I'm gonna say his name tonight.
Amen.
Kyren Lacy was innocent. Kyren Lacy should be here with us. Nothing will ever repair or replace the pain that their parents, that his parents have to feel and his loved ones have to feel. But we could say his name. There were so many stations that ran the fact that he was being investigated. So I wanted to make sure here with Scott, we could say that he was an innocent man and at least know that he has that as he rests.
You and I talked about this earlier tonight, and I'll just share with them what I share with you. I can't recall ever seeing something that made me react viscerally to the point that I felt like my hands were trembling to think that there's video that shows that this is not at all what happened, and that young man took his life. And so I will not say any more. It's your thoughts here. I just wanted to echo.
Thank you very much.
No, and my apologies for forgetting that, because this is a more important thing than what we're talking about tonight. Ryan Clark, I appreciate you always.
Yes, that's what Ryan Clark stated on SportsCenter. And I want to draw attention to the news footage of the current state of affairs and the explanation for Ryan Clark's statements on SportsCenter.
To the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodeau, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Never.
To help you folks better understand everything, though, I would want to show you that news tape. And when Ryan Clark called out the officer by name on his own podcast, he made an even greater mistake for which he might likely face legal action.
Sad and tragic when I thought he died under the weight of handling the guilt that he unknowingly played a part in someone losing their lives. It's even more tragic that I know he died as an innocent man who knew he was innocent, but was dealing with the consequences of someone guilty of what he had been accused of. And let's be clear, Kyren Lacy is innocent, but on December 17th, 2 people lost their lives. Obviously, Herman Hall, and condolences and prayers to his family, because this man fought in 2 Vietnam wars, and the very thing he fought for, right, which was the rights and the privileges and the due diligence of the courts as it pertains to American citizens, didn't even happen in his death. They didn't even honor him that way. It was true lies. It was true railroading. It was true framing. It was Tyler Werner, the state police, who was coaching witnesses into telling them or into saying that it was Kyren's car involved in the crash. All he saw was a young black man, right? He didn't see Kenny, and he didn't see Candace's son. He didn't see a brother. He didn't see a teammate. He didn't see a boyfriend. He didn't see somebody who truly was a part of the community. So they stole his joy, they stole his career, and eventually they took his life. And so now it's about what happens to give his family justice.
So that's Ryan Clark on the Pivot Podcast talking about the situation. And yeah, like I said, he even called out the officer by name. And that's not a good look when now you're sitting here publicly apologizing for what you said about the Kyren Lacy situation, for what you said about it on ESPN, man. So let me show you guys the public apology, what Ryan Clark said now about the Kyren Lacy situation, guys. Let's check out Ryan Clark's apology live on ESPN. Here's the...
That's Ryan Clark discussing the subject on the Pivot Podcast. Indeed, as I mentioned before, he even called the officer by name. And now that you're sitting here publicly expressing regret for what you said on the Kyber Lake case, that doesn't look good. Man, what you said on ESPN about it? So allow me to publicly apologize to you all. What Ryan Clark recently stated on the Kyrie laser incident. Let's watch Ryan Clark's apology live on ESPN, guys. Here's a video of it. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit the like button for me. This contributes to the ongoing growth of this YouTube channel. Additionally, remember to click the subscribe button, press the notification bell, and keep up with all of my most recent YouTube videos.
So I've never really had much trouble expressing anything. This has been more difficult because I know that people are hurting, right? 2 lives have been lost. Herman Hall, a man who spent his life in service of other, and Kyren Lacy. He's just a young man who I wish I could tell how much he had to live for. My heart absolutely breaks for both of them, their families, and their loved ones. On Monday night's Sports Center, I addressed the horrific car crash that took Mr. Hall's life, and also the subsequent tragic events that led to the death of Kyren Lacy. In full transparency, y'all, I knew Kyren Lacy personally, but nothing matters to me more than the truth. I always strive to do my best to mix authenticity with the most complete and up-to-date information available. I failed to do that on Monday night based on the subsequent evidence that has been released by the Louisiana State Police Department. I set the highest standards of fairness and, most importantly, righteousness in my work. I didn't meet that standard. But since I've spoken to Kyren's representation at length, and I've also reached out to a representative at the state police office just to have a conversation. They informed me this morning that because it's ongoing litigation, they actually can't divulge anything else. It's always important to me that I gather all factual and important information to provide the complete story. That's a responsibility that I do not take lightly. And when discussed in real time on Monday evening, I failed to do so. And for that, I apologize.
Late last week, the attorney for former LSU football player Kyren Lacy released a video challenging the version of events Louisiana State Police used to cite Lacy in a December auto accident which claimed the life of 78-year-old Herman Hall. On Tuesday, state police released a video and records defending their initial findings that alleged Lacy's operation of the vehicle created a chain of events that resulted in the crash that claimed Hall's life. Lacy's car is seen moving at a high rate of speed in the wrong lane just prior to the incident. Lacy faced several charges, including felony negligent homicide, but died by suicide days before a grand jury was set to convene, meaning his guilt or innocence will not be tried in a criminal court. The one certainty here is that this was a senseless tragedy in December, and it's magnified by a second life lost in April. I apologize for the incomplete reaction that aired on this show on Monday night.
I simply have one thing to say. These guys need to improve their reporting, since in the end, they don't have to aim to be the first to report on something. ESPN will receive the number of views it is expected to receive when it releases the news. However, folks, that concludes today's video. Your opinions regarding today's video would be greatly appreciated. Remember to enter the comment section. If you've watched the entire video, don't forget to hit the like button. Remember to click the subscribe button as well. I'll see you all at the next one, guys. We're out.